Just a high-level overview from me, and I'll pass over now to Marie-Christine, who will talk you through the pre-commercial procurement process and how the RFT works.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm Marie-Christine Badamo from PSE, based in Brussels. I'm the Secretary General of the organization, and also managing some legal part of this process. So my role today will be to present you the main feature of the PCP. Some of you know already a PCP. For those who are involved in Broadway, that's for sure. But for some other suppliers, that could be a new instrument. So what is pre-commercial procurement? It's really an innovative approach to try to procure research and development services. It's as a goal to enable public procurers to develop solutions to address concrete needs of the public sector that are not already met by the market. To share the risk and the benefit with the participating parties, and to create the good condition for wide commercialization of R&D results. So what do we have here for the PCP objective? In fact, there is a common evaluation from the public sector that they want to challenge industry to develop a new and better solution that respond to their needs and for which there is no answer yet. So with this motivation in mind, the PCP will try to address this. It will help to modernize international operation of public services, to make them more efficient, to reduce cost, because that's also one element, and improve the external quality of public services for the citizen. So it's really, PCP are not only used, of course, in the security sector and the security domain, but can be used, for example, in the health sector or in transport sector, in many other sectors where you have public authorities also involved. So the legal framework, you all know procurement rules because as supplier, you're involved in procurement. For the PCP, it's quite different, because the PCP are outside the normal EU public procurement directive. But nevertheless, on this being said, you've got the application of some EU recommendation, some guidelines, and also it is very important to note that some EU treaty principles are applicable to PCP. So it means that the competition should be open and run in a transparent way. So that's why, for example, when David was saying, okay, you can address and send us your questions, all the answer on the question will be made public to everybody. Also, we need to have equal treatment and equal chance for all the suppliers. And you will have different companies, because the aim is to stimulate competition among suppliers. So we really want to have different companies able to make competing offers. And that's the principle of the PCP, that you will have competition all over the different phases of the procurement. And I will come back in details to these different phases. So what do we have and where do we stand now? So we started more than 1 year ago, and at the very start of the project we had a prior information notice just to inform the market that we were opening and we will be running this PCP. You already heard Carrie mention all the preliminary work that has been done at the beginning of the project to understand the needs of the practitioners. We had also activity to understand the state of the art and where we were from the supplier side. And that was to prepare the request for tenders. So now the request for tender is out, and we had the publication on the 31st of January, 31st of January. And we are now presenting you the main feature, having this opportunity to have a discussion with you so that you can start to prepare your offer. There will be the offer evaluation, and then for the one who will be selected, you will enter into the PCP that is divided in 3 phases: solution design, prototype development, and pilot development. So some of you, I'm sure, know very well this picture. I already mentioned that we're over, phase 0 is done, and we are just before the phase 1. It's for you to understand how it works, because we want to have a selection of consortia that will be participating in the phase 1. And there will be a scale down of suppliers during the 3 phases. So more in phase 1, then there is an evaluation of the results, and the one who will be successful will participate to the call-off for the phase 2. On the same, at the end of the phase 2, there is an evaluation. The successful one will be invited to bid for the phase 3. So the idea is really to keep the competition all the time during all the 3 phases, really to have the best solution. So that's the PCP process with these 3 phases, and BroadGNSS ends at phase 3. In some cases, that could be continued by PPI, Procurement of Innovation. It's not for granted that you move from a PCP to a PPI. That should be something that at some point will have to be discussed with USPA, because there is small financing that could be made available, but much more smaller than for a PCP. And the last phase is really to help to get to the TRL 9 for the solution, and to help and support the commercialization of the product. Intellectual property rights. So that is something that is also a bit different from the other procurement. So here you are developing and conducting research. So the result of the PCP should stay to the supplier, and you will own the IPR of the things that you are developing. But procurer also shall be contractually entitled to use these results for their own purposes and own use. There is also a callback position. It means that if during a certain period the supply, it's 3 years in BroadGNSS, the provider after the PCP do not commercialize their solution, there is a possibility for the procurer to ask for licenses to third party to exploit the result under fair and reasonable market condition. So that is also an important element to push the supplier to bring at the end to the market their solution. During this PCP, that is also an important element because it is public money and it is not considered as state aid. David already presented the different partners who are involved in this PCP, and it's good to present the roles of the different parties. So we have a group of procurers. So we mentioned that we have 3 entities, 3 public entities that are forming this group of procurers, and they are collaborating together. And we have also lead procurer, French Ministry of Interior, who is acting, in fact, on behalf of the group of procurers, and that is important. So the French Ministry of Interior, the tender has been published through the French portal for the public procurement. The contract will be submitted to French law. the signature of the contract will be done by the Ministry of Interior on behalf of the group of procurers. And also the functioning of the group of procurers, all the different steps that will have to be done, for example, for the evaluation of the different offers, it will be done by the 3 contracting authorities on the full GOPA, and there will be a common decision of these buyers. So everything is done in consultation with the GOPA, and they are all involved in equal footing. So we are here now. You all know this. We had previously the open market consultation, and we are in this time where we have to present the tender, the request for tender. And here you will have some elements of our timeline and where we stand. So as I said, the RFT was published the 31st of January. The deadline for proposing your offer is the 2nd of May at 12 noon. And you will have to present a full offer with different elements. And I will come back to these different elements more in detail. So just to come back to the PCP scheduled, we had during last year an open market consultation. Some of you participated to this open market consultation. There was an open questionnaire to the industry. We had also a webinar to present this questionnaire and to present the main idea of this PCP. We received, because the questionnaire was also complicated and long, so we had 48 potential suppliers who attended the event from 44 companies. We have a partnering tool, so many suppliers register to this partnering tool that is available on BroadGNSS website. And we received 13 questionnaire full, and that was really useful also to form the definition of our challenges for the PCP. So we are here today with this event. It will be also very important for us to feel from the supplier their reaction to the tender, their interest, and to try to evaluate this situation. And based on this, we could decide to organize some further webinar to address some specific points. So here you will have the dates of the 3 phases. As I said, the deadline to submit your offer is 2nd of May. Then there will be a phase for the evaluation of the different offers that we're going to receive. And here is the time for phase 1, so from June to until October. Then there is an evaluation of the work that is being done during this phase, so the design that are being proposed. Companies or consortium that are considered satisfactory could be invited or will be invited to participate to the call-off for the prototype for the phase 2. And that will take place November, December later this year. And then again, we need time for the GOP to evaluate the offer presented during this call-off. And the phase 2 should start in February next year until October 2023. Same procedure for phase 3. Again, successful one will be invited to the call-off. And the duration of the phase 3 is from February to 2024 to August 2024. So here you've got the timeline of the full PCP. You will find all the different documents, so there are different sources of information. You will have the contract notice, of course, published on TED. You can download the RFT at 2 different places, so on BroadGNSS website, but also on the French website for public procurement. So the name is Place, and you've got a link here. And of course, you will have also information on our website about the partnering tool, and you can download after this event all our presentation that will be made available on our website. David mentioned also the question process, and I think it's very important, and we learn a lot during Broadway that that is quite intense activity. So you can, of course, ask all your questions. There is a process here. You can send your question to the Secretariat of BroadGNSS. We will, of course, address your questions. There are some deadlines for the final questions, also deadline for our final answer. We try to do that on a regular basis. And all the question and answer will be made available on BroadGNSS website. Sometimes some questions are easy, sometimes some questions are quite tricky, so we have to consult also with the legal partner to provide the answer. The budget, so that was already mentioned by David with the overall envelope that we have for the procurement. So you see that it's a bit more than 2,100,000 for the PCP, VAT excluded. We don't know yet the situation of the supplier, where they are located, whether or not there will be VAT. So there are complicated calculation to be made afterwards, but we have the budget here, VAT excluded. And you will see here on the table below the expected minimum number of contractors that we would like to have for the different phases, with the maximum budget per phases, which bring the total of the 2,131,111,11 cents. It is important to highlight also one element, is that there are strict rules regarding the finances in the PCP. So we cannot move easily money from, for doing what is for the PCP and for the procurement is for the procurement. There is no transfer of money from the budget of the PCP to the coordination team. And if there is, at the end, some unspent money, it will be returned to the European Commission and to the buyers.
So help us spend it.
Yeah, because it's a strict line between the two budgets, and no, in either way, it's not possible. So here I will start to enter into details about your applications and your offer. I will not go and read all this because it would be too boring, but I would like to highlight a few elements of this. So for the assessment of the tender, we will present the overview on the different documents that you will have to present. There is, of course, as in any procurement, some exclusion grounds, the selection criteria, the compliance criteria, and the award criteria. Later on, Sanya will spend quite some time to explain also the evaluation part and how the note or the quote will be made. So, as you know, you will have to fill in this European single procurement document, and you will have to provide different documents and to fill in different forms. Here is a summary of the different components that you will have to provide. You can, of course, in your team have your partner, and sometimes you can have also some subcontractor. So you will have to provide information for both category of partner. Here, the exclusion ground. Of course, that is rather common, and for any procurement, you've got this type of ground. So you have to prove that there is no criminal conviction, that you are in order for the payment of taxes, social security, contribution, that there is no insolvency, conflict of interest, or professional misconduct. So that is exclusion ground. You are in or you fail. So there is no way. And we do this evaluation immediately when we receive the offer. That is the first step of the evaluation. Then there is the selection criteria. You need to prove your ability to perform R&D services. So there are different things that you should bring as reference, list of projects, for example, that you will have to provide in your offer. For this one, you will have to demonstrate the expertise and working experience. So you need to provide a CV of your key experts. That is maybe an element that will be detailed later, but you will have also to provide a subcontractor for an independent and impartial evaluation and testing and validation of your solution, including security assurance. You need also to show and to prove that you have a business continuity disaster recovery risk management plan. So that is part of the selection criteria. Compliance criteria, there is a list here so that you have also to complete different declaration that will form ESPD. So declaration of the compliance with the definition of R&D services, compatibility with other public financing, compliance with the requirements regarding the place of performance of the contract. I will come back to this one because that is important for this PCP. Compliance with ethic requirements, compliance with security requirements, and I will come back also to the element on security. So place of performance. That is an EU project. We mentioned also, and that was also highlighted by Carrie, the need to have a sovereignty on some of the solutions that are going to be proposed and developed. So there are some elements to guarantee these points. So place of performance for all the development of security components, it must be performed in EU member states or Horizon 2020 associated country. Also, the key R&D personnel must be located in the EU member states. For the other components that are not security, there is a little flexibility. At least 75% of the total value of the activity have to be performed in EU member states or in Horizon 20 associated country. So that is an element that you have to take into consideration when you form your consortium and when you look for your partners in the consortium for the different suppliers. So that is the element for the security. There is also this consideration concerning establishment and control of the companies that will be participating to the offer. So that is really important in order to protect the essential interest of the security in the EU and or its member states. BroadGNSS PCP shall be restricted to legal entity established or deemed to be established in member states or Horizon 2020 associated country and ultimately controlled by member states or Horizon 2020 associated country. It means that we have to look at the place of establishment and also the control of the company. That is the two elements that will be really important for us to assess. So if you are located in the EU but controlled from non-EU country or and with the majority, I will come back to the criteria, you will not be considered as eligible. So bear this in mind and have a look carefully at this. I mean, your legal team will for sure check this. So you have here also what we mean by control. It's the power to exercise a decisive influence on the designation of the majority of the director of an entity or on its management. Here are some practical things about place. So the French website for public procurement. If you type BroadGNSS, you will find very easily the contract notice. You can download the tender document. More importantly, that is where you will have to upload your offer. So there is here depot. So that is where you will have to upload your offer. As I said, this slide will be made available and everything is also explained on the contract notice. So you will have all the information. And if you have any doubt, of course, you can contact us. The framework agreement. So you will find in the tender document, there are a lot of annexes, but there are 4 main documents. One is a framework agreement. And you will have different clauses that are really important in this framework agreement. It will present the contractor obligation, accounting and payment rules, assessment of performance of the different phases, key personnel, how we describe that, liability, IPR, localization of services and security requirements. In fact, you've got this framework agreement that will rule our relation during the full duration of the PCP. But for each phase, you will have a specific contract. So you have the combination of the two that you have to read in conjunction. The framework agreement presents really the overall relation on how it will function. IPR, as I said, there is in the PCP, because it's research and development for innovative solution, there is idea of a risk-benefit sharing between the different partners involved in the PCP. And I mentioned already this, a callback provision that is important. So if you have a consortium that go until the phase 3, and after 3 years have not used or not commercialized the solution, there is a right for the group of procurers to get a license to a third party to commercialize the solutions. We don't want to have this blocked at the end, and the investment for the innovation should really lead to concrete solutions. So here it's a summary of, so it's a recap of what you need to submit for the different phases. There is a point that is important here, because you need to present your team as complete as possible, but we know that sometimes it's not so easy. So it will be possible for the phase 2 or 3 to add additional contractors. So be complete as possible, but we know that sometimes you will see that for phase 2 or phase 3, you need additional partner, and there is a possibility to add. Of course, whenever you are adding a new partner, we have to do the full evaluation of the partner. They will have to submit the full ESPD, and we have to check all the criteria again about this partner. But that is a possibility and a flexibility. And we know that it is important for you, maybe for the design, that is a smaller period with a smaller budget. So here, just an overview. We're going also to put this summary table on the website. and again, where you will find things. So there are different, BroadGNSS could be the central point also where you will find everything. I would like to highlight this partnering tool as well, because that's an important element. There is a registration on BroadGNSS where you can register your company if it's not already done. You can provide an overview of your expertise, and that could help to find partners to form the consortium. So all the information, when you have accepted the term, of course, is made available, and you will find all the details of the different companies. So far, I think we are just a little less than 50 companies that are listed on the partnering tool.
So I will explain how we got our objectives, what are our objectives and what is actually our goal. So the whole idea was to enable a European Galileo-based solution, first of all, time synchronization. Then we saw that secure and highly accurate location navigation is also important. Of course, Internet of Public Safety thing is very interesting and it's growing. And of course, drone fleet management is something that is very important for the PPDRs. So we also looked how to improve the quality of time synchronization public safety organizations communications network, and we put in brackets including application information exchange. We need to highlight that. And of course, independence is always very important. We are also trying to find a way to have autonomy from non-European technological solutions. So here are our objectives. As you can see, they're like puzzles, so they need to fit to each other. We have 9 objectives, so application, availability, accuracy, security and safety, robustness, device ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, standardized solution, and technical validation. You see, so those are our objectives, but you see something like 4 pillars: mobile applications, drones, communication infrastructure, and IoT, actually IOP, Internet of Public Safety things. So we see that those 4 pillars are actually essential for our objectives. So this is how we place them on the board. Okay, so when we were deciding what are we going to procure, we had, as Kari mentioned, national workshops, national and international workshops where we explained our ideas regarding time synchronization, location, IoT, and drones, and made a questionnaire. Kari gave you insight how this questionnaire was made and which outputs we got. So when we gathered all the inputs, so we had national workshops on in each buyer, so France, Finland, and Estonia. And of course, we had international workshops through PSCE and through PSRG working group. Then we had all those info, and then we needed to find how to put all those requirements somewhere in the tender, actually, that everything makes sense. So this is how we actually came up with an idea to have narrative description. It helped us, and I'm pretty sure it will help you to understand the goal, the ideas, what are we going to procure. So I'm just going to read it. So actually we have situation after bank robbery. The police is pursuing the theft. The fugitive can flee by motorcycle, bicycle, car, or foot. During the chase, the fugitive enters a 5-story building. Gunshots are heard during the chase. To locate the fugitive, the police team dispatches a swarm of drones, 2 as a minimum, to follow fugitive outdoor and indoor. The control room user and PPDI user in the field will be provided with real-time situational awareness. And then we have those bullet points. Actually, those bullet points, I would say they are small solutions. So with this narrative description, we are just helping you to understand what do we really want. But for example, the first bullet point, information related to the accurate outdoor and indoor location of the drones, PPDRs, bypassers, and fugitive in the field. Transition shall be seamless between outdoor and indoor location and vice versa. Then, information related to differentiation of persons involved, type of PPDRs. So is it police, health emergency, fire brigades? Fugitive shall be confirmed from the control room, and also bypassers should be differentiated. Audio and live video from drones, optical and thermal cameras. Map on the fly, we need that it's very important for us. Information related to gunshots, who shot, accurate location and timestamp, and availability of communication link, so critical mobile broadband communication infrastructure. All necessary data mentioned, gathered during the operation shall be recorded and stored. Time synchronization, different data sets shall be taken into account so they can be used in court. Solutions should be able to ensure green traffic lights for PPDRs who are in pursuit, and drones shall provide stable and encrypted communication hub for transferring live video and images. So this is the story, as I said, narrative description. I'll show you, we break down those requirements into the objectives and sub-objectives. So as I said, we have 9 objectives. The first one is application. So of course we find that application is the crucial one, and we just wanted to take that to highlight that advanced augmented reality, Internet of Public Safety Things, drones, geospatial applications, audio, video, live, optical and thermal cameras. So all those issues are very important for this project. So this is the first objective, application, and I will go through sub-objectives. So you see APP1, application scope. This is sub-objective. So each objective, I will repeat that when we come to the evaluation, tender evaluation scheme, but just to understand. So each objective, we have 9 of them. Each objective consists of sub-objectives, which actually explain what is necessary. And everything is, of course, following the narrative description. So application scope, application shall be able to provide location of persons and hardware involved, follow fugitive autonomously and distinguish from fugitive type of PPDRs and bypassers. Of course, GDPR has to be taken into account, and audio and live video from drones, optical and thermal cameras. Of course, application also shall be generate the map on the fly and detect gunshots and store them with information who shot, accurate location and timestamp. So this is, I would say, let's say the first step, how we explain what we want on application level. Time latency, very important, and we put some here. We said time latency in solution shall not exceed maximum allowed value in harsh radio frequency environment below 100 milliseconds. Target would be 20 milliseconds. Drone control, map generation, gunshot identification, data and transfer, seamless indoor, outdoor, and vice versa. Notification that system is not available and recovery in case of loss of GNSS signal. So I just need to explain these numbers here. So less than 100 milliseconds and target would be 20 milliseconds. This is PCP, pre-commercial procurement. So we want the best value it can be. So we actually put target value will be 20 milliseconds just to give you an idea what can you do better than that, something like that. So PCP actually is, as I said, pre-commercial procurement is R&D procurement, where actually all our sub-objectives actually leave the space for innovation. So we didn't want to put, strict number like it is in the normal procurement. You need to reach this number, otherwise you're not eligible. So its target would be 20 milliseconds. So please do your best. And of course, teams are in competition. So definitely, I will also explain in the evaluation scheme what is important on which sub-objectives. Green traffic lights. From control room side, application should be able to provide green traffic lights automatically with possibility of human interaction if necessary. So also one requirement very important for the PPDRs. Seamless data exchange. So the coordinate system shall be Galileo terrestrial reference frame. For seamless data exchange, supported formats for maps shall be at least KML, GPX, and OpenStreetMap. Google Maps are considered optional. So we are also giving you guidelines regarding seamless data exchange. I need to highlight that it's also crucial. Open APIs. Yes, of course, open APIs. Definitely very important. So it can be modified, whatever we need with that. So these APIs and data formats should be available without delay, without licensing or confidentiality constraints, and royalty-free to nominated suppliers. So we need to have, as one of the objectives is standardized, but also open APIs, definitely something for the PPDRs they need to. Data protection. Data protection and communication link, as well as the stored data, shall be taken into account within the whole solution. The solution shall have a configurable user access regime, which allows to define different access roles for different user groups. Of course, definitely something that needs to be taken care of. Critical hardware components. So if there are some failure, we really want that our solution works. So critical hardware components shall be identified to be hardened and tamper-proof. So in brackets, we gave actually example. As I said, this is PCP, so you will come up with your solution and you will come up with which are those critical hardware components in your solution which has to be hardened and tamper-proof. Then malfunctioning. In any case of malfunctioning of drones, communication link, control room application, etc., users shall be informed. Monitoring of malfunctioning shall also include monitoring of the correctness of time synchronization within the network. Of course, anything has to be, information has to be provided for the end user to know the real situation. Quality of user experience, concept of quality of user experience shall be integral part of the GNSS solution. So we want your ideas how this quality of user experience will be achieved. Then we have two sub-objectives which are labeled nice to have. I will again explain it in more detail when we come to the evaluation scheme, but just very briefly now, nice to have, you are allowed to skip. So you don't need to provide solution for the nice to have. If you do, we will evaluate, but those are actually some ideas which we would like, but we are aware that we already put a lot on your plate, so we are allowing you to skip nice to haves. So communication channel provided by drones. Drone provide communication channel which is used for transmitting audio commands from PPDRs to environment. For example, stop, do not move. The communication channel shall be available over distance at least 5 kilometers with sufficient bandwidth for voice communication. And another one nice to have is PPDRs receive real-time additional information. For example, floor plan, indoor map, about surrounding environment through situational awareness, e.g. augmented reality goggles. Then we are coming to the second objective, which is device ecosystem. So device ecosystem also, as I said, each objective consists of sub-objectives. And the first one is situational awareness. Situational awareness should be provided both in the control room and on communication devices, which are in everyday PPDR use, smartphone, tablets with different operating systems. So as you already know, PPDRs already use some devices. So we don't want to burden them with another device they need to carry. So it has to be on all those devices they use already. Sensors. Drone shall be equipped with sensors which shall enable a fulfillment of tasks described in narrative description. So we just refer to the narrative description regarding all the sensors that drones should have. User-friendliness. User-friendliness regarding devices, so size, weight, usability of drone fleet control solution is important and defined below. Drones shall be operated by one person and shall be simple and fast deployable. Oops, it did. I'm going up, right? Okay. But the other one, it's the same. Okay, I need to press harder. That's the point. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, it takes time to, you know, when I click to change. Okay, here it is. Sorry about that. Operating time. So operating time of drones is important and defined. Flight time minimum 1 hour, optimum up to 2 hours. Speed shall be able to adapt the speed in order to able to follow pedestrian, motorcycle, bicycle, car within the city's maximum 100 kilometers per hour. Altitude, maximum altitude which drone shall reach shall follow the latest EU regulation. Environmental characteristics, drone shall be able to fly in normal outdoor environment, maximum wind 10 meters per second, maximum rain 1 millimeter, I don't know how to say this in English, okay, sorry. Temperature minus 10 to 50 and humidity 80%, IP 54 or better. Regarding devices, I just need to highlight that, okay, here we are saying about all the devices, but regarding drones, we found that as this is PCP, we shouldn't define the class of the drone. We are leaving this to you. So we just explained, you know, what are the characteristics of this drone, but we are leaving the class of drone open. So please fit to our sub-objectives. But we didn't want that we actually, in that way, we would block your innovation. Okay, commercial off the shelf shall be able to perform the task. Future-proof solution shall be future-proof and supported for minimum of 5 years. So we are looking something that we know that we will have at least for 5 years. System management for drones. Asset and system management for drones, version of software, battery, memory space application shall be provided. And of course, open APIs SDKs for mission critical application development. So as I said before, open APIs, and of course, with usability of SDKs should be provided. Then the third objective is availability. So we find that actually availability has to be maintained. So we say the critical nature of these services require that solutions shall be designed, delivered, and maintained in a high availability and resilient manner. So the first one, availability of solutions. The solution shall be usable everywhere, outdoor, indoor, especially deep or urban canyons. Real-time location of persons involved. So we say that the map shall provide a situational awareness picture showing the actual real-time location of the PPDRs, bypassers, fugitive, and drones. The positioning accuracy shall not exceed 2 meters. The solution shall have the possibility to show historic data, and logging of the data shall start once the operation starts and ends with the operation is finished. Also map on the fly, so we are saying that solution shall generate and update the map on the fly. The map shall be available at PPDR site as well as in the control room in near real time, allowing processing and data transmission. In case no map is available, the solution shall be able to build up 3D map and geofence it. In case of existing map, the solution shall be able to enhance the map on the fly by self-incremental learning. So as we are aware that we might have some plans of some buildings, but of course, if there are not, we really would like that this solution actually provides insight of that. Seamless, yes, this is very important. We are aware that we have, let's say, outdoor coverage, and let's say, I would say, let's say some place we have also indoor. But as we found from the questionnaire, seamless is something that it's not seamless at the moment. So this is also very important for the PPDRs. Stable and encrypted communication link. So stable and encrypted communication link between control room and drones, as well as PPDRs, should be available and maintained at all times. The availability and time synchronization of the communication link shall be monitored and malfunctions reported to the operators. The communication link shall allow non-line of sight communication and distance up to 2 kilometers. So again, you see here some numbers up to 2 kilometers. But as I said, this is PCP, so this is, I would say, rough number, and we definitely would like that you achieve as much as possible. Recording voice and video, the solution shall be able to record voice and video and transmit to the control room live content. Reliability and continuity of service. The solution shall have the ability to continue operations in case of loss of signal, e.g. GNSS. The period of time to be covered shall be specified and justified by tenderers. So we want, again, it's a competition, so we want the best numbers you can provide for reliability and continuity of service. Update rate, the location in navigation solution shall have location update rate at least 1 Hertz. Outputs of solution. Outputs of the solution shall include the following information: locationing, history, maps, state vector of the drones, gunshot locationing, and timestamp. Existing data transmission protocols and protocols of V2X communication shall be used. The coordinates shall be available in different map projections, and all data shall have a unified timestamp. Okay, this is strange because I press, but it goes. Availability. Sorry, yes. I don't know what happens. So also deployment time. The overall solution shall be deployed and operational within 10 minutes. 5 minimum as a target. So again, some numbers, but we want that you compete and provide the best solution for PPDRs. Dedicated PPDR frequencies for drones. The solution shall be able to work on dedicated frequencies for drones when frequencies become available. So we know that there is initiative that PPDRs get frequencies for the drones. As for now, you know, if PPDR have a frequency, if PPDRs have a drone, and I would say normal citizens have the same drone, it is a problem if you want to get rid of this citizen drone, because you will also mess with your own drone. So there is initiative that PPDRs get their own frequencies. So we put this requirement also into account that, you know, when this happens, your solution should follow that. Accuracy. So we are looking accuracy, as we say here, several different accuracies are crucial for achieving the whole solution. So the first one, locationing accuracy of drones. Locationing accuracy in drones shall be sufficient to establish the map of the environment. We say better than 2 meters. Positioning accuracy in confined space. Drones shall be able to achieve a position accuracy in confined space which allows them to fly through the doors or windows or other openings. Width and height of opening, we say less than 80 centimeters. Automatic collision avoidance. The drone shall have an automatic collision avoidance mechanism in order to prevent the drones flying into obstacles, for example, walls, persons, drones. Distinct the person involved, so the solution shall distinguish persons involved, type of PPDRs, police, health emergency, fire brigades, fugitive has to be confirmed from the control room, and the bypassers. This is one requirement, one sub-objective, which our PPDRs find very, very important, as when you have situation and you have, map and it's live, who is who on the map. So very important. We found from industry that this is quite a challenge, but we encourage you because this is crucial. Then we have GNSS sources. So we say that GNSS signals shall be provided from independent sources, and one of the sources shall be Galileo. Locationing of gunshots. Solution shall provide an accurate location of the gunshots, including a timestamp. The trustworthiness, improving the possibility that evidence can be admissible in a court of law by using authenticated GNSS signals to provide position and time information. So, for example, Galileo Authentication Service. The accuracy shall be specified and justified by tenderers. Correlation of recorded voice and video. The recorded voice and video from drones shall be in correlation. Time synchronization with all other data. Date, time, and location shall be displayed on the video all the time. Locationing inside building. The accuracy of location of person involved shall be sufficient to identify on which floor and in which room the persons are. If you remember, in the narrative description, we say that the fugitive is entering a 5-story building. Time synchronization. Solution shall provide an accurate time synchronization of all recording data with an error not exceeding 10 milliseconds. Proof of reliability has to be provided. The time synchronization should include a monitoring of the availability and authenticity within the network used. Then notification for not achieved accuracy requirements. In any case, the accuracy requirement, for example, location and time of drones, type of PPDRs, bypassers, fugitive, cannot be met by the system, user shall be informed. Additional sensors and techniques. The solution shall be able to use additional sensors, techniques to achieve an improvement of PNT, position, navigation, and timing solution in terms of reliability, accuracy, integrity, and robustness. And there is one nice to have. If you remember, I said nice to have is sub-objective, which you are allowed to skip. You don't need to provide solution for that. So there is one, we say identification of the holes in the floor. Drone shall be able to identify holes in the floor, for example, open elevator shafts, and show the location in the floor. Okay, this is really strange because it's...
I can move it for you.
Yes, please. I don't know, where am I? No, go down. Next, yes, because I pressed down, but, and next, thank you.
Next?
Yes, next. Okay, robustness. So we know that the PPDRs work in real harsh environment, and we wanted to make sure that robustness is fulfilled. We say to endure different type of attacks and provide resilience. So we have 2 sub-objectives in the robustness, the operation in harsh radio frequency environment. So the ability to operate drones shall be assured in harsh radio frequency environment, and there are some regulations which shall be applied. The receiver shall have resilient against multipath propagation of the GNSS signal and unintentional and intentional interference. The second sub-objective in the robustness, indication of detecting jamming and spoofing signals. So indication of detected jamming and spoofing signals shall be provided as soon as the exceeded the threshold specified in RTCA DO. Yes, again, sorry, it down, one more, sorry. One more. Yes, security. Okay, security, again, very important for the PPDRs, as we say that PPDRs need to trust the system, need to trust the solution. So that whatever they transmit, whatever information they use, they need to know that it has been exchanged in a confidential manner and the integrity of the information has not been compromised. So security, very important. And the first sub-objective which we have in security is that solution shall be mission critical service. Then the second one, authenticated access from a trusted source. So if the GNSS solution shall have authenticated access from a trusted source as a minimum. This means the usage of Galileo, open service navigation message authentication, and when the signal are available, the Galileo commercial authentication service. Independency. As I said, independency is very interesting. We were investigating how to reach the independency from non-European solution. And actually from the open market consultation, we actually found out that this is really a challenge. So this is how we actually wrote it in a request for tender, that independency from non-European service and critical components shall be considered. From tenderers, it is expected to provide a strategy to increase the independency and provide a justification when non-European services and components are needed. So this is how we want your help, how to solve this issue. Yeah. Then safety of persons involved. Of course, safety of persons involved as well, the bypassers shall be assured. We need to take care of that. Confidentiality of information. Confidentiality of information shall be achieved by encryption on site. Notification, again, we had several notifications so far, but this is one more. The solution shall provide prompt warning to the users if integrity of the solution is not met. Drone pilot able to take over in case of an emergency. A drone pilot shall be able to take over full control of the drone. Safe emergency landing. Drone shall have possibility to have safe emergency landing, which can be initiated from the operator of the drone operator or from drone itself. When drone realizes that communication link is lost, low battery, or user-defined pre-configured conditions. Shall I try or? Yeah, next one, please. Compliance with European law. Of course, compliance with European law shall be considered with regard to the Gnss Directive, the EU Cybersecurity Act, and other applicable laws for fundamental security measures shall be considered. Security assurance, the security assurance of the solution shall be taken into account, and detailed plan how it can be achieved shall be provided. Marie-Christine mentioned you earlier, so one of the, let's say, in our tender, we are asking for independent and impartial technical validation. We will come to the objective technical validation, including security assurance. So we want that you hire a company who will provide this, who will fulfill this technical validation, but also including this security assurance, how it is taken into your solution. Yeah. Then we have standardized solution. This is objective, where of course we want that that your solution is standardized. So first of all, use of open common standards. So 3GPP, IETF, ITU, and ETSI shall be used. Then the second one, open data standard formats for exchanging information. So we are here also stated that which formats we are looking for, so that that open standards for formats are used. Standardization contribution obligations. So you might find that some gaps in existing standard are not fulfilled, or actually are filled with proprietary formats for the time being. Any proprietary formats shall be provided, and standardization activities shall be initiated in parallel to allow for future procurement of the final solution. So basically, if you have some proprietary solution, proprietary formats that you are using, we would like to see your effort that how are you planning to standardize this, so we don't end up with some vendor lock solution. Standardized and certified encryption algorithms, so solution shall use standardized and certified encryption algorithms, and statement of compliance. The solution shall be provided with a statement of compliance to relevant standards. Okay, next one, please. Then we have innovation ecosystem objective. So innovation ecosystem is actually giving you insights what else could be in this domain procured. So we are saying the master drone provides drone control for other drones and act as communication hub, providing backbone communication and data transfer to the control room. Communication hub functionality shall be transferable from one drone to another if necessary. Beyond visual line of sight. So we say the drone fleet control solution shall be capable to work beyond visual line of sight. We say this distance greater than 1 kilometer within the next 5 to 10 years. Depending on the regulation in force, tenders shall propose a plan how to demonstrate. Civilian airspace. Drones shall be incorporated in civilian airspace and meet the latest national /EU regulations. Shall I try? Yeah, it's working now. So thanks. Flying formation of drones. So swarm of drones shall be operated in a flying formation simultaneously for the task, and new specific innovation from supplier side to support or enhance tasks are welcome. So in this sub-objective, new specific innovations, we are leaving space for suppliers, for the teams to present, to come up with some specific solutions which will enhance actually the whole solution. Let me try. Okay, it's working. Okay, and the last objective is technical validation. So as mentioned before, for technical validation objective, you need to have independent and impartial company who will carry out the technical validation, including security assurance. So I will just explain, I will not go through all of those, because if you look, all those sub-objectives in technical validation are actually sub-objectives which are mentioned somewhere, you know, in some of the objectives which we went through. So we just want tests which will prove, for example, time latency. You say time latency, our solution is 20 milliseconds. Okay, we want tests which prove this time latency of yours. So as I said, all sub-objectives in technical validation are actually sub-objectives listed above in some of the other objectives seamless, stable and encrypted communication link, map on the fly, reliability and continuity of service, distinction of persons involved. Then we have a time synchronization, GNSS sources, automatic collision avoidance, locationing of gunshots, notification for not achieved accuracy requirement, operation in harsh radio frequency environment, authenticated access from a trusted source, flying formation of drones, and I think the last one is master drone. Yes, so as I said, technical validation, for those we want tests which will prove that your solution is providing what we asked for. So it's, of course, at the end, I would say a pilot, when we all have finished, we will have some, I would say, demonstration where you will actually follow narrative description and show the whole story. But this is pilot, so we are not even in design yet, but just wanted to give you an overview how it works. So for now, from 31st of January, the RFT is launched, and you have, the deadline is the 2nd of May, where you give us your proposal with all the stuff Marie-Christine mentioned, and of course this is technical part.
Okay, I will explain now the tendering evaluation which we have in the BroadGNSS project. And first of all, I would like to explain the glossary, the terms that we will use. So we have award criteria, which is actually the criteria used to identify the most advantageous tender. Award criteria actually consists of criterions. So those are subsections of award criteria. We have objectives. They are in criterion impact on challenge. So objectives, they constitute the BroadGNSS common challenge as identified in TD2, and impact on challenge consists of 9 objectives. Each of those objectives consists of sub-objectives explaining what those objectives should be. So award criteria has 5 criteria. And the first one is project management and project team. Under those, there are 2 sub-criteria: feasibility of the project plan and schedule, and methodology of the project. Then the second criteria is impact on challenge with 9 sub-criteria, so objectives. And each objective is actually consists of sub-objectives. Then commercial feasibility and evaluation of the solution. All those will be evaluated under Appendix 3 scoring model for the award criteria. Price is the 5th criterion, and for the price we will use Appendix 4 scoring model for price. So regarding second criterion in award criteria, which is called impact on challenge, as I said before, it consists of 9 objectives. Those are application, device ecosystem, availability, accuracy, robustness, security and safety, standardized solutions, innovation ecosystem, and technical validation. So each of those objectives consists of sub-objectives. Sub-objectives can be sufficient information to describe how each sub-criterion will be achieved and or nice to haves. Regarding sufficient information to describe how each sub-objective will be achieved, there are actually mandatory sub-objectives, and the scoring model for the award criteria in Appendix 3 will be applied. For nice to haves, tenderers are allowed to skip. So tenderers are not obliged to provide nice solutions for the nice to have. If you do, we will evaluate it on the scoring model for the award criteria in Appendix 3. Here is just an example in device ecosystem. What are those sub-objectives? So as I said, all sub-objectives are mandatory except those nice to have. And we call them sufficient information for achieving sub-objective. Under device ecosystem, this is just an example what sub-objectives could be. So this is situation. We have situational awareness, we have sensors, we have user friendliness and operating time. We have 3 nice to haves. So 2 of those are in application objective, and 1 is under accuracy objective. So in application objective, we have communication channel provided by drones, and the other nice to have is augmented reality. In accuracy objective, we have identification of the holes in the floor. As I mentioned before, nice to have, you are allowed to skip, so you don't need to provide the solution for those. So evaluation. I already mentioned that sub-objectives are mandatory, except those nice to have, and you are not allowed to skip even one. If you do skip, you will be actually, that shall lead to the exclusion of the tenderer. The second condition is that certain sub-objectives in objective has to reach cumulative minimum of points. For example, in application objective, sub-objectives 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has to be scored that they reach cumulative minimum of 15 points. So we have this cumulative minimum for each objective. So for example, in standards, sub-objective 1, 2, 3, and 4, they should reach cumulative minimum of 12 points. So we will apply Appendix 3 scoring model for the word criteria for each sub-objective, and actually the final score for objective will be obtained as follows: the average of the sum of all scores granted for sub-objectives. Okay, in technical offer, we ask you describe how your solution will achieve sub-objective and describe where your solution will be innovative in this domain. So please keep in mind that you're not allowed to skip sub-objectives. So please provide your ideas for each sub-objective. And of course, your solution, where is your solution innovative? Please make sure to answer those two questions for each objective, actually each sub-objective. Here is a model for Appendix 3 for the scoring model for the word criteria. So if you do not provide, if you skip something, that actually will score you 0, but that will lead to your exclusion of the tenderer. For example, if we give you 4, that means the description addresses the objective very well, but a small number of shortcomings are present. So this is the table, which scoring model, which we will use for the award criteria for each sub-objective. This is a scoring model for the price. So it's in Appendix 4. It is identified. And you see here the formula. So score is actually, this formula is your price offered with the ceiling price. Regarding ceiling price, you will find the information in TD1 in section 1.5. So it's what is ceiling price per tender per phase. So this is how we will evaluate Appendix 4 for scoring model for the price. And this is also some precautions. If the two tenderers receive the same number of points, then the tenderer with the highest point on impact on challenge shall be ranked higher. And if two tenderers award the same points on impact as well, then the tenderer with the lowest price shall be ranked higher. And of course, if there is also a situation that the prices are the same, then if they will, if necessary, be separated by drawing of lots performed by two representatives of the lead procurer. So this is all regarding evaluation, tendering evaluation for the BroadGNSS project.